Today, I want to share a story about the delusional ex-wife who went off the rails. She charged ahead like a wild boar. So buckle up and enjoy the ride. I want you to hear about the crazy incident my ex-wife, who I divorced 5 years ago, caused. First, let me introduce a long, sweet email from her, which I'm sure you all love. I finally realized it. You were the one. We were both young back then. It was just youthful folly, so let's let bygones be bygones. My life has been miserable since we parted ways. I'm sure yours has been too. I miss our newlywed days so much, I even dream about them. She's being all poetic right from the start. The reason of our divorce was entirely her fault to begin with. Don't make it sound like a nice story and imply I did something wrong too. This is a typical case of someone getting high on their own supply. Don't assume he feels the same way you do. What did your ex-wife do? Give us the details on why you divorced. Since you asked for details, I'll write out what happened. It's a cliché, but the reason for the divorce was my wife's affair. I was in my early 30s at the time. My wife was a homemaker. We had been together since college and got married right after graduation. Several years into the marriage, we had a solid foundation for our life. When I got promoted to assistant manager, we bought a newly built house. I was busy during this time with lots of business trips. So I left most of the stuff related to the new house to my wife, but on my days off, I made sure to help out with manual labor, chores, etc. There was nothing particularly notable about us, just a normal family, but in a way that shows how happy we were. Building our new house gave me extra motivation, and I resolved to work my butt off for the sake of our future kids too. But at some point, my wife suddenly became cold. Before, even when I got home late from a business trip, she would stay up late waiting for me and reheat the dinner she made. But before I knew it, she didn't make dinner, let alone wait for me. But my wife was doing various things for our new house too, and must have been tired, so staying up late might have been hard on her. Thinking that, I started eating dinner before coming home on days I had business trips. Still, the distance between us gradually grew, and eventually we stopped talking much at all. Lots of memories are coming back. I knew making her feel lonely with my business trips, so I decided to take paid leave to spend time with my wife. I invited her to go to her favorite home goods store and have a date for the first time in a while, but she immediately turned me down, saying I'm tired so I don't want to go. It seemed like she disliked me taking paid leave, too. So in this way, I was trying in my own way to repair our relationship, but it all felt like wasted effort with no signs of progress. And days passed without any improvement between us. Out of all this, there was one thing I found suspicious. More and more home decor kept appearing in the house. Of course we needed to fully furnish the place since it was new, but even after getting all the essentials, my wife got obsessed with interior decorating or something and kept buying new stuff. Our once tidy house gradually became cluttered with a mishmash of decor. By this point my wife was barely doing any housework, so dust kept piling up on all the decor. The order of events made no sense. Haven't you bought a bit too much lately? It doesn't seem like you're keeping up with the cleaning either, so maybe you should hold off. When I finally said this to her, my wife exploded on me. Why do I need you telling me what to do? Am I not allowed to buy a single thing for my hobbies? She demanded, launching into a huge tirade. I wasn't saying she couldn't buy anything, just that she should cut back. It's not good to cram too much stuff into a new house from the start, and for real, she hasn't been keeping up with the cleaning. But even after I explained that, my wife showed no signs of cooling down, yelling "I've had it with you," before running out of the house. When I was stunned by her act that I'd never seen before, her phone vibrated on the table. I thought that what would she do if anything happened to her, even left her phone behind, and I casually pick it up. Then a suspicious message popped up in the notifications. What time tomorrow? Is your husband on a business trip? Combined with the recent weirdness, I was sure that she was guilty. Her passcode was still her birthday like always, so I snuck a peek at her messaging app. I found an overwhelming amount of evidence of cheating. Reading through the messages, I figured out the guy was some big shot at the home goods store my wife always went to. They even kindly left photos of their sex, so I also got the extra info that they were doing it at my house. Thinking about having slept in the bed those two had sex and made me so nauseous, I wanted to get out of that house ASAP. I quickly packed a bag and went back to my parents' place. My parents were surprised I showed up out of the blue, but when I explained the situation, they were furious. They welcomed me with open arms. Even though I disappeared, there was no contact from my wife. And no wonder, apparently the two of them had sex in my house while I was gone when I hired a PI firm to investigate. To show those two lovebirds a dose of reality, I hired a lawyer and sent them a demand letter. They pushed back a bit on the alimony amount, but the divorce itself went through quickly. Word is, the guy married into his wife's family. His wife and in-laws were livid about this double affair. They divorced right away too, and get this, it turns out the home goods company belonged to the guy's in-laws. His wife kicked him off the board of directors. I heard that my wife approached him to continue the relationship, but he hated her for causing him to lose his comfortable life. And she was dumped. In the end, I couldn't bear to live in that house anymore, so I decided to sell it. We hadn't even lived there a year, so I recouped almost the full mortgage amount. The rest was covered by the alimony from the two cheaters. After the divorce with my wife, I was in a slump for a while. But a year later, I had a fateful encounter. It was after a long day at work and I was exhausted in both body and mind. To add insult to injury, it was pouring rain outside. While I hurried home, I found her, sat on the ground shivering in the rain without an umbrella. Oh great, here comes the introduction of his current wife. I'm out. Wait, hear me out. Listen till the end. Without hesitation, I brought her home and took good care of her. She was wary of me at first, but after a while she must have realized I meant no harm, and began to open up to me. She healed my heart, filled the void, and stayed by my side. She jerks me around on a whim sometimes, but she always greets me happily when I get home. I'm head over heels for her, and it's not too much to say that I've dedicated my entire life to her. What my ex-wife did is unforgivable, but if I think of it as the path that led me to my girl, I can almost forgive it. I never would have met her if I'd stayed married, you know. My ex-wife was allergic to cats, see. I thought you were talking about a new wife, but plot twist, it was a cat. I was gonna tell you to divorce her if you remarried. The part about the rain made me go ha, but I get it now. What are you talking about? She's my wife as far as I'm concerned. I just wanted to tell the story this way for once, forgive me. Let's call her Mia for now. Ever since I met Mia, she's become the center of my life. Each day thinking only Mia and living for her happiness. And earlier this year, I used the remaining alimony and my savings to build a house for Mia to live comfortably in. So anyway, I'm on cloud 9 right now, so there's no way I feel nostalgic about my cheating ex-wife contacting me. I'm planning to take this stuff to my lawyer once enough piles up. I ignored the emails full of sweet words from her without replying, but she kept sending them anyway. Ex-wife, stop interfering with the relationship between the cat and OP. Dear, I was waiting for you. Then, and from now on. You know what that means, right? We used to love each other. Our hearts are still connected. Aren't they? When there was no reply to that, she sent a follow-up email. I guess it's embarrassing to say it yourself? Then I'll say it. I was waiting for you to tell me to come back. I'm still waiting now. I was laughing my ass off at her poetic dramatics when Mia randomly meowed and showed me her belly. While my cheating ex's poetic prowess was amusing me, I felt an unease somewhere in my heart. She wasn't like this in the past, at least, so I thought there must be some reason why she turned out this way. When she realized I wasn't responding, my ex-wife kindly sent me an update on her current situation, perhaps to invoke sympathy. If I pasted the full email she sent, it could fill an entire book, so I'll just summarize. After breaking up with you, my parents cut ties with me too, and I was abandoned by the guy I cheated with, ending up all alone. I tried to work to pay back the alimony and stuff, but it's tough with no prior work experience. No companies would hire me, so I had no choice but to work part-time jobs, but that alone isn't enough to get by. That's when you cross my mind. The work was tough, and I couldn't last at any of the places I worked. I somehow scraped by doing things like sex work. And you cross my mind. As an aside, there was a rough poem shoved in here that went even if others have my body, my heart belongs to you. No matter who I'm held by, I only think of you. So I'm sharing that as a palate cleanser. After that, my ex-wife managed to get by somehow. but kept repeating a cycle of things like getting tricked by a customer and being unable to stay at a shop, or making small mistakes and eventually running out of shops that would keep her. Well, the red light district in this city is pretty small. Your ex-wife must have done all sorts of stuff. There are countless sex shops out there, so what on earth did she do to get blacklisted? Her emails make it sound like she's the victim, but I bet her attitude was so bad it became the talk of the town. Or she actually got into money trouble over things like spending a lot of money on a guy working at a club. She says matchmaking isn't going well, nobody will even meet her. My cheating ex starts saying stuff like you're the only one who will love me after all and there's no man better than you, but that doesn't tug on my heartstrings at all. It's impressive how she keeps going with zero response. But it's entertaining, so maybe she has a talent for being a spam email writer and could make some pocket change that way. Ignoring is the best policy for spam. At the time of waiting for the right timing to set my ex's address to rejected senders, I got the problematic email from her. I want to see you. I want to start over. In the house full of our memories, I want to start everything over. Won't you give me another chance? I wanted to reply that house may hold memories for you, but the only memories left there are the good times you had with your affair partner. Not any with me, but I held back at the last second and just replied that house is gone now. Like I said, that house has already been sold and a different family lives there now. I decided to send just that reply in case there was even a tiny chance of them being bothered. Then, overjoyed to finally get a response from me, my ex-wife started rapidly firing off emails. I knew you still had feelings for me too. I'm so happy, I believed you would still be thinking of me. Since she clearly wasn't getting it at all, I sent the same reply again that the house is gone. Ignoring that reply, my cheating ex just kept sending me delusional emails about us starting over. We filled that place with all that flashy decor that jerk liked. I actually prefer a simpler style. You like monotone colors too, right? Let's buy new stuff together. No, first of all, it's not about being torn apart. What you did was simple betrayal. That house had a lovely kitchen. I loved that you ate so much. You liked hamburger steak, right? I'll make it for you once a week from now on. Seems hamburger steak was her lover's favorite food. After I found out my ex-wife had been making it for him in our kitchen, it was my most hated food in the world for a while. Thanks to Mia, I can eat it again though. She also kept one-sidedly sending me other pipe dreams that will never come true. Like how many kids she wants to have with me and how she wants to support me as a housewife again. I could only be stunned by the volume of emails. It's honestly funny how unbelievably dense she is, just like a spam bot. I really think your ex has a knack for being a spam email artist. Irritated by my ex-wife who wouldn't listen no matter what I said, I finally launched my counterattack. Sorry, but I already have a girl I've decided on named Mia. I live in a completely new house now, very far from where I used to live, so there's no way my ex will ever find out where I am. That's exactly why I decided to toy with my ex by deliberately talking about Mia like she was human. As expected, my ex exploded in anger, giving the stereotypical response of huh? Mia? Who the hell is that woman? Is that someone you know? Did you meet someone new? Since she took the bait just as planned, I decided to regale her with tales of Mia's and my lovey-dovey life, as she so desired. Yeah, that's right. I met Mia after divorcing you. It was a fateful encounter. I exaggeratedly told my ex about meeting Mia and how she came to open her heart to me. Hearing that, my ex went entertainingly berserk and she ranted ignoring her own fault. What's that about? From what I hear, she's just some crazy woman making you go to all this trouble without doing anything herself. I would do the housework and not make you go to any trouble. Wake up. So my vengeful spirit was ignited. I don't need Mia to do anything for me. It's enough for her to just be by my side. And unlike you, Mia only has eyes for me, she doesn't go wagging her tail at other guys like you did. Sorry, but you and Mia don't even compare. I sent her. When I first split with my cheating ex, I was so swamped with various paperwork that I felt nothing but exhaustion. And never got to air my grievances like this. Getting this off my chest after 5 years felt cathartic. You really had a change of heart, huh? Yeah, that's right. My love for you ran out ages ago, 5 years back. Mia is the one I love most in the world. And I'm going to live for her sake from now on. Sorry, but there's no room for you. Now that I'd stated it this clearly, even my dense cheating ex would understand that there was no hope of reconciliation. That's what I thought at the time, but the words that came out of her mouth were beyond anything I could have predicted. I'm coming to where you are tomorrow. Huh? What are you talking about? Dear, that woman has brainwashed you. I'm certain of it. I have to save you. Don't worry, I'm sure you'll understand once we meet in person. It's scary when someone is this impossibly dense. I told her, who was half consumed by spirituality, once again that there would be no reconciliation. I decided to block contact from my ex. She said she was coming to see me, but my ex doesn't know where I live now. I thought there was no way she could actually take action. However, my prediction would soon be betrayed. Having lost everything and fallen to being an invincible nobody, my cheating ex caused an unbelievable incident the next day. It was my day off and I was relaxing at home with Mia. We were watching dramas I'd recorded and trying out Mia's new toys. A single phone call interrupted my lovey-dovey time with Mia as if to get in the way. It was the police calling. Getting a call from such unexpected person made me tense up. Apparently my cheating ex had done something. I headed to the police station since they said they wanted to hear my side of the story. On the phone, I told them I was already divorced from my ex, that I'd gotten a weird email from her yesterday, and that I didn't want to see her face to face. So they put me in a separate room from my ex. It was the next room over, but there was a one-way mirror on their side so they couldn't see me. They asked, "Is that woman your ex-wife?" To confirm. The person there was definitely my cheating ex, but for some reason she was dressed in this gaudy wedding dress type outfit. Huh, a wedding dress? The officer gave a wry smile and nodded in response to my involuntary outburst, then explained the circumstances. True to her word, my cheating ex barged into the house we used to live in. Unfortunately, a different family was already living there, and the wife answered the door. The instant she saw the wife, my ex in her wedding dress started screaming, "You must be Mia. Give me back my man. Bring him out," on the doorstep. Of course the wife, who had no idea what was going on, denied it, but when my ex started going berserk, the husband who came out from inside restrained her and they called the police, leading to this. What a nightmare. Even when they asked her what happened, she just kept repeating stuff like "I promised him. He's waiting for me." So I ended up getting called in for questioning too. The police seemed to realize my ex's behavior was abnormal, and after hearing my side of the story, they said I was free to go home. With no one to pick her up, my ex's parents, who had cut ties with her, were reluctantly called to come get her. Even though my ex acted on her own, I couldn't say I bore no responsibility for egging her on. So I later went to apologize to the couple whose house she barged into. Far from being angry, the couple sympathized with me. Dude, it's terrifying how she just goes off the rails without listening when you clearly said the house is gone. And why a wedding dress? Everything about this is nuts. Apparently she thought if she showed up in a wedding dress, she could get remarried. Anyway, I can't understand what she said at all. I thought she was just on a poetic high from the emails, but listening to my ex's words and actions from the other room, she was exactly the same in person. Her behavior was so clearly abnormal, with no trace of the person she used to be, that it scared me. Later on, my ex's parents came to apologize to me and I asked a bit about her condition. Seems the hardship she went through was real and she developed a mental illness. That would explain her insane words and behavior. But it's frightening how much a person can change. After the incident, my ex's mental state worsened further. She's apparently been admitted to a psychiatric hospital. With my ex in that condition, she can't be left to her own devices. So her parents promised to take responsibility and keep an eye on her from now on. Just to be safe, I had them meet me at a family restaurant near their place. So there's no risk of my ex finding out my whereabouts from her parents. I took the opportunity to change my phone and number, completely cutting ties with her. I couldn't let the happy life I finally got with Mia be destroyed, after all. Speaking of Mia and I, the two of us are living happily in our new home. The house feels too big for one person and one cat, so I'm thinking of seeing how Mia gets along with another cat and maybe adopting one more. Get a male cat so Mia doesn't get jealous. Mental illness or not, she was one hell of a terrible ex-wife. It was hilarious how you provoked her. To be honest, I had a blast expressing my love for Mia to get a rise out of her. The end result was her barging into that house though, so I do feel bad for causing trouble for that couple who had nothing to do with this. I'm completely done with marriage and have decided to dedicate the rest of my life to Mia. I hope this story helped anyone else struggling to respond to emails full of sweet nothings. Thanks for listening to my story. And that concludes the tale of the cheating ex-wife who tried to make everything go her way with her own strange logic. By the way, while it is possible to sell a house with a remaining mortgage, the condition is that you have to pay off the loan in full and remove the lien.